Okay, today we are joined with Max Roffwarg. He is a junior at Swarthmore College, and he's a baseball player there. And why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Max Roffwarg. Just like you said, I'm a junior at Swarthmore College. I'm on the baseball team. I'm from Houston, Texas. I went to Emory High School in Houston. Born and raised in Houston. Um, yeah, that's who I am. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you on our show here today. So to start off, want to ask you, last year you batted an impressive 325 batting average with an also impressive 471 on base percentage. Going into your junior season, how are you working to maintain this and get even better?
Yeah, so just working on my mechanics, my mindset, um, taking what I did well last year, taking what I didn't do well last year. Just really went back to the drawing board with everything, the good and the bad, and just trying to get even better. There's always room to grow, and I think the coaching staff here has really pushed me and put me in a good position to keep growing and to just keep improving as a person myself, as a player, and as a leader as well for this team. So
Right.
yeah.
And another thing I noticed, so sophomore year you did slightly better than you did freshman year, but what I saw is that during your freshman year, you switched your stride from a toe tap to a leg kick or like whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
I think that has affected your swing a lot.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm impressed that you saw that. I'd say that a lot of the load aspects for me is like a timing mechanism. So as long as for me I'm feeling like the coil on the back hip and I'm uh, equally separated between my front and my backside, I feel like I'm in a good position to hit. I feel like having a lot of different variations of loads are important too. Like I've never really said I'm like maybe like in little league I was like a big leg kick guy, like it was the cool thing to do. But then I never really thought about the load. I've always just thought about it as like kind of a timing mechanism. So I feel like I can hit from a no stride, a toe tap, a little stride. I haven't really tried a leg kick, but honestly, whatever makes you feel most comfortable, whatever as a player, and it's going to change day to day. Um, Sometimes I feel like I'm getting stuck with the toe tap, and especially off the machine when I'm just getting my work in, it's really hard to toe tap off a machine with a hard timing mechanism. So
There's a lot of
it's
moving parts there. Less, I mean, you're literally putting your foot down twice. That's when my freshman season, that's what I struggled with a lot. And I figured out, oh, maybe this isn't working for me. And then things kind of clicked.
yeah, nice. What do you do?
Oh, I do like it's a mix in between a stride and a leg kick. It's not like a crazy one,
Okay,
but it's kind of I'd say medium leg kick.
cool.
But then, all right. So for my second question, getting recruited for college sports is really difficult. How can you describe your journey to get to college in baseball and recruiting?
Yeah, so it's different for everybody. For me, it was really different because mine was like COVID. My junior summer was just COVID. So all the recruiting camps and stuff, some of them happened, some of them didn't. A lot of tournaments got canceled, some didn't, but it was all over the place. Communication's huge. I still think that's important now. Sending out emails, posting stuff on Twitter, but at the same time, being respectful of coaches' time, and they're not going to see every email. They're not going to see every tweet. So um, I'd say just control what you can control. Whether that be you're going to showcases. For example, I went to Showball. Um, it's a great high academic showcase and all the coaches are there. And just communicating with coaches, picking their brains, seeing if they're interested, and then just honestly just showcasing what I can do, and just really sticking to my like what I can do and not trying to do anything I can't. I think that's the big thing at showcases. People will go, and even tournaments with like scouts in the crowd, people will go and just try to be someone they're not. I'm not a guy that's gonna slug a huge number and hit balls 450 feet. every single time. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm that guy because I don't want to end up at a place where they thought I was that guy, but I'm really not because it's not going to end up the way
Right.
it should.
Transparency.
Yeah.
Along with that, baseball, the amount of work you have to put in the background, like to be able to get to the next level is really extraordinary. How how would you kind of talk about your extra work that you had to put in high school to get to the next level?
Yeah. So it's a good question. Um, I was, I like to think of myself as a first guy in, last guy out kind of guy. And I was really lucky to have a bunch of teammates like that as well. Um, I would wake up at, we'd have 6 a.m. lifts in high school. Sometimes I would go to a facility. Sometimes I would do them at school with some of my teammates. Um, Alex Mentz, who played baseball at UTSA and St. Mary's, and now he's doing some analytic stuff with the University of Texas baseball team. And then Josh Blum at USC. He's playing
I,
baseball there.
I was on
Yeah,
your Instagram the other day. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I was just, and some of our other friends who played baseball with us were just so bought in, so dedicated. So like we just all pushed each other. 6 a.m. lifts, leaving our high school fields and the weight rooms at 9 p.m. and then going home to eat and do some homework and then wake up the next day and keep going. It's a grind, but if you're doing it because you love it and if you're doing it with the people that you love, then it makes it a lot of fun and some of the best memories.
Of course. So, what in general inspired you in the first place to pursue college baseball? I mean, after that COVID season, what made you really want to keep going forward? Because you knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah. Um, I can't. I feel like when people ask me this question, I'm always like, I just can't remember when I didn't want to play college baseball. Like, keep going. Like, I have an older brother who's 3 years older than me, and he always played baseball, and he didn't end up playing in college, but he turned out to be a power lifter at he did it at University of Texas, but just like he was so driven all the time, and like some of his friends went to go play in college, and the little league that we played at West University, a bunch of guys like from that little league when I was young and they were older went to go play on in college. Some of them playing pro ball still. So I feel like I was always kind of surrounded with guys older than me. I was surrounded with great guys older than me that just didn't really even make it a question. It was just like this is what I want to do, and I've always just wanted to do it.
Yeah, so I feel that same way with my brother, who's going to be a college runner in Mississippi College. He does this with me. He just couldn't be here today. But
Mm-hmm.
seeing the work ethic he puts in and all that, I mean, it can be as simple as seeing how dedicated he is in getting his running in every day and kind of correlating that with how I should feel, making sure to get my throwing in, making sure to get my hitting in, make sure to get every single lift I need to get in and really just not slacking off. Having that mentor, in a way, it doesn't have to be like a direct mentor, it can be so helpful.
Yeah, it's incredible. I also have one of my cousins played college baseball as well, so just that was like another just I want to be like him. I want to be like the older guys.
Yeah. So, what does a typical day or week of training look like for you during the season or off season?
Okay. I'll give you the day in the life in the off season first. So in the fall, usually every other day we'll have a 6 a.m. lift. The hitters and pitchers are separate. So 6 a.m. lift, shower, get ready for class, go to breakfast with their team, get done with breakfast, class from 9:30 to 12:30, grab lunch, head down to the locker room, change, ready for practice, early work at I want to say 1:30, practice, extra work after practice with some teammates, weight room, stretch, stuff like that. Um, Shower, get ready for dinner, team dinner at the dining hall. Um, Homework, studying, um, and then sleep. Sleep
Hopefully.
some sleep some good.
um, do you get 2 lifts in during a day sometimes? Does that happen?
Um, our lists are usually pretty long. So um it doesn't happen as often as like a football team would go 2 a days.
Right.
But I feel like in a sense, like say I'm gonna lift in the morning and then I'm gonna hit at night. I feel like I'll do like some I'll obviously do the first workout, like hit lift in the morning, and then like at night I'll do some med ball work or like some core as well. So like I guess you could kind of count that as like a 2 a day in a sense, plus practice and then conditioning and stuff like that.
So for you, what do you give the biggest credit to in improving your personal game?
Ooh, biggest credit, probably my parents. Um, my mom's she's the best. My dad's the best. My brother's the best too. My whole family's awesome. Um, but I've got what you call a baseball mom. Um, she would always take me to like my tournaments and my practices, and I was always trying to play for the like a good team. So I was some of my games and practices were far, and she would never hesitate to drive me out on a Thursday night after a long day of picking and taking my brother and myself to school and back and practices and stuff, and then taking me to a practice an hour away and staying there and watching until we're done and taking me back. Um, so like, I feel like I have obviously like all the coaches, like the coaching staff here is amazing, uh, and like they're giving me the tools, but like I can be given a compass, but without the motivation, right? So my motivation to like pursue what my coaching staff and like what I'm given to improve at is driven by like the motivation that my family gives me, just like to do it for them. If that makes any
Oh
sense.
yeah,
Like
sure, for sure.
I get the tools, I get what I need to work on, and then maybe some people are like, I don't want to do it. I know that that's what they want me to do, but I'm not going to do it. But I'm like, my mom didn't take me out 2 hours to not do this anymore. Like
Yeah,
I'm still going.
of course, yeah. So let's lighten up a little bit. Do you have any game day superstitions with your teammates or personal ones at all?
Yeah. Probably my favorite one is me and one of my best friends on the team. His name is Aiden. We we go to Wawa the night before games, and he gets milk. I don't know. It's like his thing. He drinks milk before. He's a weird kid. I love him though. Um, and I'll get some candy for the game. Maybe a snack for that night. Maybe like a pretzel or something. Wawa is, you know what Bucky's is, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Wawa is like not as good as Bucky's. I'm gonna be straight, but it'll do. It's like a nice convenience store. They got a little deli. They make some food there, like a gas station store. Um, but that's really fun. We go pretty late at night, either before or after we hit the night before. And then game day, I like to clean up. I like to wake up early, put on a nice fit, go to class. I superstitions are, a lot of baseball players have them. A lot don't. I feel like it's kind of dying out a little bit, because of like some new research, I guess, on like psychology stuff. But I mean, there's some crazy superstitions that like old baseball players had that
Yeah,
I just
it
hear.
gets a little wild.
I bet you some won't even say some of them.
Yeah. All right. Throughout your baseball journey, who has been your role model that you look up to? Like really someone that you might not even know, but you know of, like an MLB player, a college player that you always look after.
It's a great question. I feel like I always have like a changing one in a sense, if that makes sense. Um, Growing up, always my brother. And it still is my brother. Then once I hit middle school, I tried to find a high schooler who was like a beast, an awesome player. Um, and I always have like major league guys in my head, whether it be Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve. Um, I'm an Astros guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Biggio, I never really got to see him play much, but just like his play style. But back to like what I would do is I would like when I was in middle school, I would pick out a high schooler. For example, there was a superstar when I was in middle school at the same school in high school was Evan Sack. He was a beast. So I always watched what he was doing, tried to communicate with him to see if I could ever tag along when he was hitting or went to go work out. When I got to high school, it was try to find a senior on the high school team when I was a freshman to try to resemble. And then I was lucky enough that my brother was a senior when I was a freshman in high school. So I was able to like talk to him, talk to some of his friends. And yeah, and then when I got to college, there was a guy when I was a freshman, there was a guy named Luke Mutz who ended up being an All-American. When he was a senior, I was a freshman. And I just knew from the jump that he was just like a perfect guy just to be around. Hard worker in and out of the classroom, great guy. Um, so I really tagged along him. I just tried to do everything that he did. Um, Not to become like exactly like him, but to take away some stuff that helps him and try to emulate that myself and for my own character.
Yeah.
So
So there are an abundance of high school baseball players who are in the same position you used to be in. What words of encouragement do you have for these young athletes?
I'd say be yourself. Um, like what I was saying, don't try to do anything you're not. You're the baseball player you are for a reason. Um, what else could I say? Just keep going. A lot. I got doubted a lot. I was on a lot of B teams. Um, but as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you got a few people that believe in you, then there's going to be at least one coach that you run into at the next level that's going to run into you. And I was lucky enough to run into that guy, and we and I couldn't be more fortunate. And it works out if you really stick to it and just keep going, keep working hard, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah. And lastly, my final question is recently you started, I think you're on episode one of doing the college baseball player day in the life. You did your friend over at USC. Can you kind of share some information about that? Because I think that's such a cool idea.
Yeah. Me and my friend who's at Texas doing the some work with the baseball team over there. We kind of had this idea. I started making like some videos and stuff just to help grow the game a little bit, show some mechanical stuff, some mindset stuff. Um, and he was like, "Yo, like you should do a day in the life." And I was like, maybe I won't be the first. Like maybe I'll do it like in the future. But he was like, "Okay." Then we were brainstorming a little bit, like, what if this guy did it? And I was like, "That's a good idea." It went really well. I liked it. I think a few
Yeah.
other people liked it too. Yeah, he was a perfect first guy. So hopefully we can just keep getting college athletes. I know I'm lucky enough to know a lot of people. He's lucky enough to know a lot of other athletes at different schools, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, field hockey, soccer. Um, so hopefully we can get people on there and start spreading the day in the life of a college athlete because it's a full time job. So being a student and an athlete, so being able to spread the grind and show high schoolers like you who think they want to do it, what it's really like, and maybe it'll help push you guys to keep going to be on that day in the life one day.
Oh yeah, and I mean, so many players want to see that. I mean, I think it's cool whenever I see players at any level record their training and stuff like I see you do on your Instagram account. It just provides a way deeper insight of what it takes, but it's also kind of like a reaffirming type of thing where you know it's like possible and you can see people doing it. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you. Any last words?
this was awesome. I'm glad we got to meet at the shout out Israel Baseball Academy.
Yeah, for
That was
sure.
awesome. And I love what you and your brother are doing. And if you have any questions, if you have any friends that have any questions, tell them to DM me about college baseball, athletics in general.
Of course.
Um, and we can help you guys out. I know a lot of people that are willing to help as well. So keep spreading the word that you're doing. Keep spreading love. Keep spreading the game. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and ask any questions you want him to answer, and we'll see you next time.